No rights to this music. Just love it. My Liberian auntie. Hi. Letting everybody join. Hi, Brenda. Tai Tai. Yes, 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 and yes. We have oh, hey, Brom. We have Intimiata playing, Liberian artist. Follow her. I'm gonna make sure that we get introduce you guys to some hot Liberian, black, beautiful, powerful, purposeful women and that are doing all types of things. So as everybody comes on, that's right. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Tipla, to another edition of Boss Lady Effect, Conversations with Boss Ladies. And I am super excited today to have my sister, friend. She's just, nothing but power. Like, you never meet somebody who just, she's constantly thinking, but what she's thinking is strategy about pouring into others. So Cookie, I see you, my regular Thursday supporter. I love my cousin Cookie. So yeah, I'm happy to have her, and we'll give people a chance to come on as we always do. Let me make sure all of my things are off. But thank you. Got a new hairdo and everything. But I just I always like to check in with you guys because I just think it's just so crazy. Happen to, having my worlds being Liberia and America right now, I can't think of two crazier places to sort of be from. I mean, so George Floyd is finally laid to rest, but clearly his memories are not, and the work that he certainly has left for all of us to be a part of, which is changing it all, making sure that we do our parts, force everybody to have those uncomfortable conversations. I can't wait to talk to Shoana and find out what parenting is like for her right now. And you'll get into why it's with her. I really can't wait to have this conversation because of where she lives. Just, did you guys get a chance to see that amazing initiative, Share the Mic Now, where 50 phenomenal, accomplished Black women took over the Instagram pages of 50 non-Black women, mostly white, Julia Roberts, Katie Couric, who else was there? Sophia Bush. There were so many people, and this is something that was started by, my sis, who I adore, and you guys had a chance to meet, Bozoma St. John, who actually took over Kourtney Kardashian's page. It was incredible, right, Raf? So MBL is on here. It was absolutely incredible, and I believe they're still on. So if you don't get a chance, check out hashtag share the mic now, and you'll see all of them. And super proud of our own Liberian girl, Miata Johnson, who was one of them that was on there. Hi, Nadia. Did you guys get a chance to actually see the George Floyd memorial that Ghana did? And Nadia, we did hear the mention from President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana at the Floyd's funeral service. Very powerful. Solidarity is so key right now. And I just think that we're all just pushing to have we have to push ourselves as parents. That is the thing that is on my mind. Parenting. I have 3-year-olds, but they're going to grow up. And the question is, what world are they going to grow up in? So, so how is everybody doing? If you're okay, give me thumbs up. If you need a hug, let me know. I'll send you a shout out because I want everybody to know as you get up and you thrive daily, you're okay. You're going to be okay. And I think as crazy as the world is right now, for me, one of the things that I see it as opportunity. It's an opportunity to either go up, move forward, push forward, conquer, or let yourself just fall. And don't let yourself fall because you're just not those people. Aliyah, Kuna, oh, thank God you're having a good week. Auntie Sheila, I know you guys are doing, I saw pictures of what's going on. So I'm sending love to you, Auntie Sheila. I'm sending love to you, my Jersey family. There's just so much happening. Brenda, I'm glad you're doing amazing. So that's great. Tanya's here. We have graduations. I have nephews, nieces, cousins. There's all this good and all the crazy, and I know there's so much pressure on the kids right now, but trust me, they're okay. And to see you guys giving the thumbs up, I think is great. But I know Shoana is already on here, so I'm gonna waste no time. I'm gonna find her, I'm gonna bring her on, and we're gonna talk to Shoana Cachelle, this amazing, powerful. I think she's an entrepreneur in sisterhood, because I think everything she does is about building a circle to empower. So I can't wait to bring her on, ladies and gentlemen. Please, let's see. Oh, Lisa made it on time today. Okay, Lisa. Hi.
I'm giving you hugs.
Hi.
Hugs.
I know. I need it, girl. I
miss you.
I need it. Hi, Savannah. I
Hey,
certainly need shout outs because I get carried away too. I'm like, oh, because it feels like it's a podcast.
I get so excited. Oh, thank God for live. Thank God for social media. Man.
Imagine if all of this was happening and there was no social media.
We would be depressed.
We would be depressed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I can't, just have to find a way to connect. And
Yeah.
so I'm so glad we're here, girl.
I know. I can't believe it.
People think like, they're like, oh, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't do anything. Have you guys met Shoana?
Baku, please.
Have
you met us, please, I beg you.
No. Have you met Shoana?
Have you met Baku? I'm trying to keep up with you, girl.
Girl, I just have a 6-year-old. That's where it ends for me these days. Just to get on here and look like a human being is a
no, I like the hair. I'm feeling it.
I'm giving black magic vibes, girl. I'm digging into my black girl soul, and I'm letting it
all. It's there. I like the one shoulder. So like I did my thing. It was like here when we started. As soon as I pushed the button, it went up here. So I give up.
Right. I know after a while you see yourself, so you're constantly trying to figure out, okay, wait, what am I?
It's just gonna be right here. Sorry to my tailor. It's just gonna stay right here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is like you have no idea. It gives me great. I've talked to lots of people, and everybody's really special. Shoana and I have this really interesting relationship that, like, it's almost like through vibes. It's really weird. It's like she can feel me no matter where she is, and then I'll just get a text from her. And it don't be like every day or anything. It's just like, Baku, what's going on with you? I'm like, well, how do you know she's supposed to text me right now and ask that question like right now? Like, how's she supposed to?
So glad. It's all divine. It's all God.
So it's great. And when I talk about sisterhood, I have to say this, and I want to say this now before I get into all your dopeness and get everybody. So Shoana has, one of the many things that she does is she has a school, early child care development school in Liberia, that really focuses on development through creative arts, and I'll let her get into that. And so my children goes to that school. Now, Shoana, let me tell you about Shoana. And this is, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say this because Shoana, this is what sisterhood is, right? I have 3 kids, and everybody knows that, sending kids to school ain't cheap or whatever. And Shoana is like, Baku, you have to send your kids to the school. And we're gonna make sure that your kids are in school. We're gonna make sure that your kids come to school. It was never about the money. It was never. I don't want to give all the details because I don't want everybody to think they can get my privileges because they can't. But sisterhood is just her coming and ensuring it, even during COVID when all else was crazy. And Lord knows she has 3 kids, 2 of which graduated, 1 high school. We got a kid, and Serafina's like going into high school. So I mean, just Shoana, I don't know if you know what that means to me. I just want to tell you here publicly that that means more to me than you can even imagine. Whether, I get on point with the online schooling because I know, I know. But like it's, being in Liberia is tough. And just being a Black woman and a woman striving to achieve is tough. And so I know my life in Liberia is sometimes it's a struggle. I actually became an introvert in Liberia, but we'll get into that. We can talk.
I'm right with you.
I
No, I'm right with you.
I just want to tell you thank
We'll
you.
talk about it all. Oh, this conversation is about to get deep.
I just want to tell you thank you because I feel like you never came at me and to me from a place of judgment. And I appreciate that about you. So, okay, that's my little, giving her flowers just because everybody's watching. But let me tell you about Shoana. So, Shoana, creative genius, finds opportunity where she can. She established and developed Cachelle International, which is a marketing and advertising firm headquartered in Liberia, but works all over the world. Don't get it twisted. You need Shoana, she can make it happen. And CI became the umbrella, Cachelle International became the umbrella for her nonprofit. I'm going to let her tell you all of the amazing things that the nonprofit does. Literacy, children, you name it. The what is it? The School for Orphans, Cachelle School of Promise, the International Creative Arts Centers that I mentioned. Shoana is also a television host. Shoana is an international professional photographer who actually was the chosen photographer to capture Madame Ellen Johnson Sirleaf when she received her Nobel Peace Prize, amongst many other things and many other things that she's captured. Shoana, I feel like I'm missing so much. So Shoana has a new show.
Enough, yeah, it's enough. It's enough. It's enough.
Girl, take it.
You got
Take it.
shame.
Shoana has a new show that is bringing joy to our lives called The Hard Joke. And for those on here that may not be Liberian, it's kind of like it's almost like a take off of Ashton Kutcher's, what was the name of the show?
What is Pranks? Yeah.
But
that's where the inspiration came from.
And it's Liberian. It's called The Hard Joke. And so the hard joke means, that's when they get you. So Shoana,
Baku, you just might be in an episode. You just don't know.
Girl. So let's get into the nitty gritty. If I missed anything, please tell us what you would like for everybody watching to know about Shoana right now.
I do a lot, and you said a lot, so I think you covered it all. I think most importantly is my job is a mom, and everything I do is because of my children. And so when I create opportunities for myself, as far as work goes, they must involve my children. So that's it. I think that's the biggest thing.
You do a great job because I know even when you do your summer camps, your kids are there working as counselor.
Yeah. Or in the camp, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I center. It's everything is around them. Everything.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Shoana, when you went to Liberia, so Shoana is a Liberian girl that grew up in America?
Yes. No. I grew up in Liberia.
Okay.
I left when I was a teenager and did high school and college here and then went back.
Okay. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that part. Somehow I missed that. Oh, okay.
I'm a true Liberian.
Yeah, you are true.
I went to St. Teresa Convent.
Oh God, the St. Teresa Convent
in the house.
So I know that's an all-girls school where all the fly girls went to. Don't worry, I have more guests that will be coming on that went to that school.
Remember, Baku, that we're speaking to not only Liberians.
I know.
Oh my God, I have to switch it up. I'm sorry, y'all, but I will break it down.
No, that you be comfortable. That's my job. I'll remember.
Bring me back. Thank you. Yeah.
To have fun. But when you came to the States and you went to school, what made you want to come back to Liberia?
I mean, it was something in me, Baku. Like when I left, I didn't leave because I wanted to leave, I left Liberia because we had to, it was survival. I mean, we were refugees in Ivory Coast for about a month before, my parents came to be able to move to the States in June of 1990. I hated it. I hated it. You know, I missed home. I missed my friends. I missed my culture. I missed things that were, you know, regular and normal. I mean, we moved in with my grandmother. She had rules. Boy, does she have rules. And it's different when you go live with somebody, you go visit them and go live with them. It's two different things.
Yeah.
And so she had some rules that I just wasn't used to. I liked the way, my parents ran their household. And it was difficult. My mother and father were separated. My dad was stayed in Ghana, in hopes that everything would stop pretty soon. So it was difficult. Yeah. I mean, what was the question?
No, that was it. So,
Okay,
but
was the answer? Okay.
question for you, what did you because you studied, what did you study in school?
Broadcast telecommunications and
Okay.
mass.
So now you left America,
Mhm.
where that's where all of that education that you got in those areas, that's where it could really, and you
Yeah.
came to like,
So that was a blessing. Yeah, that was a blessing that I was able to do that. When I moved to Liberia, this was after the recession in 2008. My business had been going for 8 years and we had reached, our height. And then the recession hit and then everything just came tumbling down, just tumbling down. And I was like, I need a new start, because when you work so hard for something and you grow it and you see it growing, and then all of a sudden just, it, you lose it, And so I was like, I can't stay here. I was depressed. I was out of my mind. And I said, you know what? I want to go back home. I said, this is it. I want to go back home. The war is over. It ended in 2004. I was like, okay, it's time to go back home. I met you there, didn't I? That's where I met you. You were
right.
already there.
Well, I moved. I officially, migrated or repatriated back
Mhm.
um in like 2000. I went 2004 for a wedding. One of my best friends at that time, Bindu was getting married. And then I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I think I want to do this. And then, like you said, the world was changing. I was in the music business, so it was changing. And so I
Yeah.
got officially, I think, around 2006, 2000,
Yeah.
2007.
So I got there in 2009. I went to visit in 2005, right
Right.
after the war, and I said, I can do this. I can do. I think
Opportunity.
when I went in 2005, I saw Rosemarie Tolbert. She was there. And I was like, was it 2005? No, maybe it was 2006. Because I did go back. I started to try to get business contracts. And so I went
Mm,
back. I was working with LBDI on a marketing contract in 2006 when I went back. And maybe that's when I met you in 2006. And then I was like, oh, they're coming back. We're coming back. We can do this. So you were one of the reasons why I was able to move back, believe it or not. I was like,
really?
dang, folks are coming back home. Yeah. Axel was there. Rose
Yeah.
was there. You were there,
Yeah.
the three of y'all. Yep. And
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I can do it too.
Yes, we're the crazy people, but home is home is home. It is what it is.
Exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
How did you find, getting set up in Liberia, coming from America, even though you had grown up in Liberia most of your life at that time, but how was it for you, getting integrated back into the system?
Hard
Were
as heck.
it was
It was
hard?
hard as heck. Let me tell you, when I left, I was a child, and I totally depended on my parents. When I moved back, I was an adult with a child that depended on me. When I
Mm,
went to Liberia, I had no money. I think I left with $1,000, no job, and just a vision. I was called, I had a vision for, I think, 2 years prior to open up a school for orphans in Liberia. And I don't know if you've ever had a vision, but when you have a vision, and I honestly believe that when it's from God, it like burns a fire in you that it won't go away. It just keeps nagging at you, keeps nagging at you. And then you can start seeing signs like one day I was in a classroom and I saw a book for furniture for preschool students. And I was like, this book was not here when I walked in this room. Those types of things started to happen. And so I went back, following what I felt that God wanted me to do. But let me tell you, I was going through a divorce at the time. And so I think that I lost my business because of, everything that was happening, in the States, the recession. I moved to Liberia with $1,000 to my name. Um, my marriage was falling apart. I had one daughter who was depending on me, and I had had a miscarriage 6 months before I moved.
Wow.
Everything was just, it was like, I knew that my divorce was going to happen. So I said, I may as well move to Liberia. At least I can get help, because in America, you might have family around you, but everybody's got a busy life. So in Liberia, I said, I will get a driver and I will get a nanny, and at least I will have help. And so that was the idea of moving back home. I was like, okay, I can do this. And when I got back home, I got a driver and I got a nanny, and I said, okay, I can do this. They can help me. But it was hard. It was really hard. I mean, there were days, I'll tell you one story. I remember the my nanny came to me and said, we need food. We don't have food in the house. And I looked in my bag and I had $25. And I said, okay, I'll give you, and this was it, $25. I mean, that's how low it got. Because going through a divorce, you're not motivated. I was going through, and now I know it as depression, but I just had no sense of creativity, no desire to work. And so it was like I would try a little bit, get a little something on the side, but nothing like how I am now. And so the driver came to me and said, "Oh, sis, we need gas,
Ugh.
well, to be able to run for the week." And so there's gas and then there's food. And I'm like, what do I do? So this was on a Sunday. Girl, let me tell you how that works. From Sunday to Friday, I had a client that called me and said, "Oh, you can come and pick up your money now." I remember getting to him on that Friday, getting the cash from him, opening my wallet, and guess what I saw? The same $25 that was there on Monday. We had eaten every single day, 3 meals a day. We had gas
Amen.
in the car. I don't know what happened, but friends just poured in. It was like, I think maybe Rosie one time was just like, "Oh, I got something for you. I'm going to drop some food by." And I remember Javon at the time, he was like, "Hey, I want to take you and your girls out." We were dating at the time. So, it was cool. I was like,
I'm,
"Oh, shit,
I'm
when
gonna give
I'm going,
that
I
part.
really needed that meal. And then imagine that Monroe Chicken was like, "Oh, I'm putting out some new sandwiches. Y'all should come by and test these new sandwiches." I grabbed my children so quickly because I'm like, I don't know where food's going to come from. Right. And I remember because I was working with the orphanage at the time, and the president had donated rice. And so we had 300-pound bags of rice in the pantry. And I remember a couple, my nanny came to me. She said, at the time, she said, "Sis Shoana, well, we have 3 bags of rice in there. You can just have some rice." I said, "But it's not for me." I said, "This rice is for the orphanage." She said, "But Sis Shoana, you work for the orphanage." I said, "It's not for me." I said, "This rice is intended for these children. They need it more than I." And I really believe that when I said that, that's when God just started pouring those blessings that day. And
Amen.
that day, I always remembered, I said, "You know what? I was called to be here for a reason. So no matter how hard it is, I'm going to get through this." And I did.
Girl, talk about strength. I got depressed just listening to all of what you went through just now for a moment.
I mean,
But then,
I felt naked. Like I literally felt like I was laying on the cool cement
wow.
for naked for like a year. I mean, I wanted to go. I remember Christmas when it came. I wanted to go home so bad. I come back to the States to my parents. I was like, I can't do this. And I didn't have money for airline ticket. And my mom was like, "Baby, I could send you money, but I can't send it for you, Munadi, and Serafina." At the time, I had just adopted, Serafina. So it was like, it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Okay, so
So
let me get this. Going through divorce, you can barely feed your family. You won't take the food from the orphanage. And was all of that when you went through the adoption for Serafina?
yeah, all of
Wow.
all at the same time. All at the same time. Man, that's when I really understood when they said women are strong, women are powerful. I mean, I was just like, nothing can break me. If that couldn't break me, nothing can break me. So people want to throw shade, people want to talk. I don't care. I don't care anymore.
So funny, which is so true, because I would have never known. I remember you and I had a conversation a while ago about the divorce, but I didn't realize all of what else was happening around there.
Same
And so
time.
funny, Nana on here says, yeah, you always projected positive energy. So true. I mean, I'm learning so much more,
Yeah.
because this part of it, I really did. Girl, you are a pillar of strength. Like, wow.
At the time, I didn't feel like it. I was like, man, and I couldn't understand. I kept on trying to figure out why this was happening when I was alone. you know, because I had no family. I had no relatives, you know, at the time. I think my aunt was there, but she was so busy. But it was just like one person. And so I didn't want to kind of burden her. But I was alone, you know, like when I think about it now, it's like, yeah, man, I can go through it all now. At this point, I'm like,
Oh no, you're
come on,
equipped.
bring it on.
You are equipped, girl. I mean, so with all of that during that time, besides your children,
Mhm.
what was your inspiration and motivation? Like what did you besides the children? Because as mothers, um, we just do. We don't even know what we're doing sometimes. We just do. I guess that is the motivation. But what was inspiring you? What were you looking towards? What were you hoping for at that time?
I wanted to survive. That's it. I just wanted to survive this change. I didn't want to come back to the States because I had literally moved my life. Like the money that like I said, I had $1,000 that I came to Liberia with because the rest of the money that I had, which wasn't a lot after we folded, um, I had to ship my stuff over. I was
Right.
like, I'm shipping this stuff back, and this is all my stuff, you know?
Right.
And so I had to survive. My goal, I had one goal and one focus, and that was I'm going to make it no matter what. I mean, none of this, I mean, there was a lot of other stuff that was happening too, but I was like, I'm going to make it. So I was really, I mean, my children had a big role to play. And another inspiration was the fact that, I had just gotten a divorce. And so I was just like, he is not going to see me down. I'm going to rise up higher than I was when I was with him so he
Man.
can know what he lost.
Yes.
It's one of the things, so I was just like, let's be real. And we keeping it real. It's just a talk, but
Yes.
it's,
No, keep it real. Because I'm about to that one. Because I remember,
you were,
uh, we were at City Hall. I remember this very conversation. I can't remember why we were at City Hall. It was
mm-hmm.
something was happening, and you and I happened to be sitting in the Palava hut, and Devon was just always around. So I was like, Shoana, so what's going on? What Miss Nosy? Because I'm like, so Shoana, like, what's Baku? He's my friend, and I'm like, you start telling me, he's so supportive. And he's just always there. He's such a good friend, but it's nothing but friendship. Then I pop up one day and I'm like,
Gosh, this
okay,
story,
you know,
everybody will tell you the same story. I'm sure if I see somebody, I think Bill was in here, he would tell you the same story. I mean, everybody, that
and I
was
don't,
the story. And I was sticking to my story. And he was.
yes.
I don't know what happened, but he really was just my friend.
Mhm.
Apparently, everybody else saw something else. And I was just like, because I literally had blinders on. I was not trying to deal with any dude. I was like, this is not for me. I'm way too hurt, got a lot of baggage. I mean, it was just too much stuff. I didn't even want to put. I remember when he told me that he was in love with me, and I was so angry, so angry. I jumped out of his car, slammed the door, and
Girl,
like
I'm mad.
literally walked away and didn't talk to him for like 2 weeks.
Why?
I just I just felt like he was such a great guy, such a amazing person that he needed. So he had never been married, didn't have children. He was younger than I was. I was like, I need to find somebody for him. He's too nice, like I don't want to burden him with all of this because I come, not that my children are a burden, but I come with children. You're not just taking care of me, you're taking care of me, you're taking care of two other children. You also, in my lifestyle, you got to take care of that too. So it was interesting. I don't know what happened. I really don't even know the turning point. I think he had gone to Ghana and I had gone to Uganda for a business trip. And when we got back, he posted some pictures on social media. He had run into an old workmate or colleague, and he was hanging out in Ghana with her, and they were taking pictures. And I started feeling ways. I was like, why am I having these feelings like I'm upset that he's in Ghana with a girl who's just his friend? And
And
then
you
there was one, she was
want to love him back.
in a hammock or something like that, relaxing. And I know he took the picture. And I was like, okay, something's happening. So I guess absence does make the heart grow fonder. So that's what happened.
Or that other woman. In Liberia, they have a saying, they say, man medicine that man. So I guess woman medicine that woman. But that's I really want to touch on a point that you just talked about because like it was just pointed out, you always project this positivity. And the interesting thing is, as you were going through that divorce and going through all of that, there was this guy, Devon, who was there for you, but in your, like, why did you feel like you couldn't accept the love that he was willing to give? Because why did you feel like your baggage would be too much? Why did you put all that? Because women tend to do that, you know, like we
I
always somebody else's problem and compound it onto ours. And you know, I want like what? Why?
Good question. Well, I didn't feel, I felt like my self-worth had just, dissolved. Like I didn't love me at that time. I didn't love who I was. I didn't even know who I was. I was so lost. I was so hurt. I mean, between the miscarriage, the divorce, being in even though it wasn't a new place, but it was certainly a different culture. Um, Not having a job, my kids depending on me. It was just, I could not see relationship. I didn't want to see it. To be honest, I really disliked men at that point. I didn't want to deal with men. I wasn't even healing. It was still raw. It was like an open wound,
Mm-hmm.
and so it just wasn't the time, and he didn't come off as, like, hey, I'm feeling you. It was more so, I'm here for you. He was that person, and that's how y'all guys be doing. Because I told him, I was like, that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair. Because I was like, oh my gosh, finally a guy friend who's not interested in me.
Mm.
Mm,
That,
mm.
by the way, not saying anything about your ex-husband, but that says a lot about what you were in to what Devon was willing to give.
Yeah,
You
true.
know,
True.
you had settled, and now clearly you're not.
Mm.
You know, you from what I see and what I think I know, you guys are. There's something about, the old people say you got to be equally yoked. The Bible says that.
Yeah,
It's the truth.
very true. Very true. We just
It
had,
is.
I mean, like my ex and I had just, different views on a lot of things, a lot of things.
That's part of being equally yoked.
Yes,
So
it's
that's
very
part of that's part of being equally
I,
yoked.
I tell everybody now, if y'all want to get married, young people wanting to get married, don't wait till you really know yourself. Then you start thinking about marriage. Because I feel like I got married a little too young. I didn't know stuff. I just felt like that was the next thing. I had gone to college. I had gotten my career, meaning started my business. I bought a house. Now I just did a husband.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
was that pressure from family?
what, to get married? No, 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 no.
It's what it's what
Yeah,
you were.
yeah. It's what it was. I mean, all my friends were getting married. I was like, this is time to get married. Because I had always said, like, I'm not getting married early. I'm not getting married early. And, I think too, because he was like Liberian. When I met him, I, you know, I was living in an area where they were real, you know, the Liberians were far in between. I was outside of Philly, even though Philadelphia had a lot of Liberians. I, I did not, go into Philly as often. And he just, made me feel like home. And that's what it was. It was just like, it was just, he knew
Mm,
what cassava leaf and rice was, you know? He knew what palm butter was. He could cook it. He showed me, actually, he taught me how to cook Liberian food. So I was like,
wow.
ooh, you know, and then the conversations we could, you know, talk about, oh, you know this, you know that. What Liberian people call cereal, oh, cornflakes, you know, and you could laugh about it, you know. So it was, we had,
Mm,
it was just that vibe. And I was like, ooh, and that's what I was attracted to, you know?
right. Right. Well, you were young, so that's what that is.
Exactly.
What does mastering the juggle look like for Shoana Cachelle now? I mean, because you business in Liberia, family in America, coronavirus, now Black Lives Matter. It always mattered, but now we cannot run away from Black Lives Matter.
He's right here.
Parenting, parenting in you're in where are you in the Midwest?
Yeah, I'm in the Midwest. Yeah, yeah. And there's stuff going on over here. How am I juggling it all? One day at a time, really, one day at a time. I'm not thinking of everything at the same time. Whatever is in front of me is what I focus on. And I mean, that's actually how I live my life as well. You know, some people were saying, how do you balance your life? How do you balance your life? And I said, I don't, you know, I used to try to balance it. And you know what it reminded me of? Like trying to balance your life. You know that it's called what's the plates on a stick. I don't know if you've seen that thing where you know
I
they will put plates on the
yeah,
stick and you're spinning all these plates at the same time. And so the idea is to have all these plates spinning on these sticks at the same time. But then if one goes to fall, your attention is on that one, then the other one starts to fall, then the other one, and all of a sudden everything's on the ground. So that's how I visualize balancing. I'm just like, you know, the plates are all spinning, but as soon as there's one change, everything falls and then you're unbalanced again. So we're trying to get balance in our lives so much. It only means that, you know, naturally life is unbalanced, right? Since we're trying to balance it. So I'm like, why not just live a naturally unbalanced life, you know, intentionally, but with a purpose? So that's what I do. So I don't try to, you know, divide my day up like, okay, I'm going to spend time here and spend time. I blend everything in order to make it work. So for example, and I think I've just recently talked in my Live with Your Brand concept, is that like if I'm on a treadmill working out, when I go to the gym 4 o'clock in the morning, pre-coronavirus, you know, on the treadmill, I'm on business calls in Liberia. You
oh
know, I'm
my God.
having all of
Quick
my conference calls, yeah, in the morning. So because by that time it's like midday in Liberia, so I'm handling all my calls while I'm working out. And so I'm able to blend those two things instead of saying, you know, there's not enough hours in the day. Yeah, there are. We just have to figure out how to, you know, do two or three things at once. When it's my time to, let's say, do yoga or whatever, you know, I can say, oh, I want to spend time with one of my girls at this time. So both of us do it together. So I'm not just, you know, doing me time, but I'm also having time with my child, you know, so I'm able to blend those two things. When I, you know, in my business, like my kids want to be involved, I would say, okay, well, I'm gonna give you a job. I need to have the salon cleaned, you know, so they'll be in the salon while I'm working and then we're still having conversations. So just being able to blend all the areas of your life together so that you can have time at the end of the day. I can shut down now at 6 o'clock in the afternoon or 6:30 and be like, I'm done with work. Whereas when I first started, I was working around 24/7. My phone would ring 3 o'clock in the morning from a client. I'm like, yeah, hello, Cachelle, how may I help you? At 3 o'clock in the morning, you know? And it was why? I'm like giving people access to me. I remember a client in Liberia one time, he called me on a Sunday, 3 o'clock. He said, oh yeah, I just checked this up. Can you just fix so and so? I said, call me on Monday. He said, Shauna, just, you know, all you need to do. I said, it's Sunday. I said, aren't you off? I said, I'm off today. I'm off on Sundays and I'm off after 5 o'clock. My day is from 9 to 5. So you need to call me during, and he thought I was joking. And he said, and he sent me a text, Shauna, are you serious? You're not, and that was when I was just like, I remember you saying, you know, I can say no. I can say no now.
Right.
I can say no
Right.
now because
Right.
I need family time. I
Right.
believe that one of the issues in my divorce was the fact that my husband used to say to me, my ex-husband used to say to me, you love it to your phone, you know, you love it to your work, you know? And and I was like, oh, whatever, whatever. But I see what he meant by that because there was no off switch. I would be
Right.
off up working, you know, midnight, you know, 3 in the morning, whatever. And I didn't even know my daughter's favorite color, Baku. I
Oh
was
wow.
so he would do her homework with her. He would feed her in the morning. He would, because I was busy building my empire. And at the end of the day, like I remember when we were moving and he was coming to Liberia first to kind of pave the way before we moved. Um, I told my daughter she was going to stay with me. And she said, Mommy, I don't want to stay with you. I want to go with Daddy because you're too busy. That broke me. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I ended up saying, you know what, I'm going to get a contract that will allow me to work 9 to 5. And I worked at a school for 6 months before we traveled, and like literally just stopped doing my business so that I would be able to spend time with her. And and during that 6 months, I was trying to figure out how this would never happen again. And I reinvented myself in Liberia. And since then, it hasn't happened again.
Wow. It's that's amazing. I haven't mastered that yet. I have mastered saying no. That is something that I have mastered. I don't know that I've 100% mastered not answering the phone. It depends on what the client and who the client is and what's happening. Um, I think it's unfortunate sometimes that women, a man can actually get away with not knowing their
Yeah,
kid's favorite color, but the
yeah,
amount of guilt that we put on that as mothers,
yeah,
and how you feel like, kids have a way of making us feel like failure. I remember like not being able to breastfeed, and I was like, oh my god, this trying to do this thing, I'll feel so inadequate. We put so much pressure on ourselves, um,
yeah,
and just to think what you were building is for her. Thank God that you were able to pivot and strategize and get smart with
yeah.
it, because look at what all you have today.
Yeah,
You
yeah. And
um,
she working for it. I told her, I said, I'm sending her to school for business, for marketing, for everything, so that I can turn it over to her. And she knows. I mean, we started this conversation years ago, and she's just like, okay. I said, when you get out of school, you're not gonna need a job. You don't have to work for anybody. I said, I'll just turn the business over to you. You run it, and I can be, on the side helping you. Like, so she
right.
knows, and
But I
she's
think
going.
I think the good thing is, one, she loves it because she's so
Yeah.
involved.
Oh my gosh.
Not like she doesn't want to be there. She's so
Yeah.
involved. She has
I'm
an
so
opinion on things. She's like your little side confidant, advisor,
plays a
very
huge
smart.
role in my business, a huge role. She doesn't even realize. I hope she's not watching, but I
Uh,
hope she doesn't even
Make her
realize.
pay, girl. Make her pay.
Oh, she gets paid. She gets paid. She gets paid.
More.
She's
No.
gonna do a real job where I get a paycheck. I was like, I'll give you cash.
Uh, tell us, Shawana, like what's happening in where you live, because you're in the Midwest, with what's happening in the world. There's so much hate. How are you teaching your kids right now? Like what is that conversation?
Everything.
What is that conversation? Because
Girl,
you're also an African girl, so and your kids have lived in Africa. So what are you teaching them?
yeah. So living where we live in the Midwest, it is predominantly white. I mean, it's like in our community, it's like 1% African American. So, I mean, my kids are in school with children that don't look like them at all. I mean, like in Selah's class, she's the only Black girl. And so this is a conversation that we've had way before this just started happening. When I think maybe she was 3. I think for the girls, the older two was probably when they were 4. And for Selah, when she was 3, because we were here at this point. And the conversation is just I feed them positive affirmations constantly about, their identity, who they are, their hair, their skin color, just loving themselves, their nose, their lips, their mouth, their eyes, just constantly. When I tell you every single day, Baku, I sit down with my girls and there's a subject that comes up. I mean, we've talked about the George Floyd situation. We've talked about the pandemic, what it looks like. Um, my oldest is hurting most because of what's going on with all the social injustice, the police brutality. So with her, we have a lot of conversations, and the reason I know that for her, it's really impacting her life is because I'm looking at her social media stories and her feeds and the things that she's posting. So then when I see those, I'll sit down and say, let's have a conversation. This past Saturday, I don't know, I was in my feelings and I just wasn't feeling good, but I contacted my sisters and my parents and I said, let's get on a family call. I have 2 nephews that are teenagers. One is 21, one is 16. I guess one is a teenager. And I said, we need to have a family talk with both the girls and the boys about what's going on and how to interact with police, because that's a conversation, as Liberians, Africans, we don't typically have these conversations. But if your kids are living in the US, you need for them to know what to do. We came up with a solution. We said, well, everybody will photocopy their license and their registration, put it in a little Ziploc bag, put it in their visor, at the top, so that when you get stopped by a cop, you're not trying to look down, because even when you are looking down, they think you're grabbing something. So you just pull it up where they can see you, give it to them, and they can say, I need the original. And then you say to them, I am going into my back pocket, or I am going into my handbag to get this. And while we're having these conversations, my little 16-year-old nephew was just talking about, he shared a story about how his friends, they were doing something, they were going to this building that they weren't supposed to, teenagers going into, and they were like, come on, Lincoln, come on. And he was like, nah, I can't do that. And when he said that, I mean, it just hit me so hard. I remember just crying my eyes out. I was like, it's just a shame that, like at 16, I mean, I'm glad he knows this, but that this is our reality. Like, I'm having a hard time with all of it, Faku, to be honest with you. I'm having a real hard time, especially with my husband. He runs in front of the house. We live in a predominantly white neighborhood. Yeah, all white neighborhood. I don't even want to say predominantly. And he runs sometimes on the streets with his shirt off. And, just, I was like, you don't even realize it. He's not thinking about it. And he's like, I do think about it, but I just don't. I gotta run, I have to do what I have to do, and I'm like, okay. So every time he goes outside, I'm praying a prayer of covering over him and God's protection over him, because, I want my black man, you know?
Huh, girl, my like when you like when you have like heartbreak and you can just feel like hearing you talk, like that's I just have those feelings like every day. Every day I feel like I'm mourning for society, for young black kids and what they have to
You
go
have a son. You have
through.
a son too
Girl,
that's growing up
and I
as
have a
well.
husband and I have,
Yeah,
nephews,
yeah.
and all they want to do is just live. I mean, even with running is now, I think, with because Carton runs also, and it's like what time of the day I feel comfortable with him going for a run. I don't want it to be too early. I don't want it to be too late. Like
Yeah.
one cannot live. Like I just think it's not okay. But in your area, have you had a chance to talk to any of the white parents about this?
No, I stay in my house. I've been staying in my house now for 4 months. I stay in my house. I stay in my lane. I had this thing where I was getting annoyed because I was getting some emails from white friends. I know it's from a place of care and compassion, but and I was talking to someone else about this, but one of the things that bothers me is when people say, I'm praying for, all the African Americans, I'm sorry you're going through this, but I didn't know, I didn't know that it was this bad. You didn't what? I'm like, how do you not know? I mean, let's stop at, I'm praying for you. I'm like, but you should pray for me all the time,
Right,
this couple didn't
right,
just
right,
happen.
right.
I know it's hard because right now there's a lot of white fragility going on, people not knowing what to say to their black friends. I mean, for me, I don't want you to say, I'm sorry. I don't, because, tell George Floyd's family that. But if you say you're standing with me, I'm good with that.
But I think it takes reaching out. So I actually have a friend that I talked to
Mhm.
the other day who is Nigerian, lives in DC, and she was
Mhm.
telling me that she was annoyed that one of her very close friends who happened to be white had not reached out to her yet. And
Mhm.
when she did reach out, it was so uncomfortable of a conversation, similar to what happened with you. But I think that's where we are. We have got to start making
Yeah.
where they have these uncomfortable conversations. They have to
Mhm.
have it because, fine, I accept. You did not realize, I mean, as many times it's been in the news, as many times, as you see it, or you don't have to see it, depending on, like you say, you're the only black person, you're the only person they
Yeah.
probably have to interact with unless they go to the store and there may be a black person working in that store. So
Mhm.
sadly, where you stand, you know, you're the only way, you're the great black hope to
Yeah.
push, right? Like as if you needed anything else on your shoulders. But
Yeah.
those uncomfortable, make them feel uncomfortable to have the uncomfortable
Mhm.
conversation, because they have to now have them with their children. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is the thing that for me, our kids don't exist in an all black area. Even in Liberia, when we're in Liberia, it's not all black. You know, we're along the lines that do more international. It's just our issue is not, you know, your kids, even if they lived in Liberia, kids are going to travel. So if
Yeah.
these kids travel and they come to America and they experience some of this nonsense, how do you even start to have that conversation with them in it from an African perspective, to like, oh, we're going on vacation, you might get shot because, you know, you're doing the right thing and the cops just don't like you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you start having the conversation early. I think know who you are, know that the color of your skin is a, makes a difference in this world. That, the things that the privilege that your white friends have, you don't have, And I'm constantly like, even with my kids, I'll say, don't walk through the school hallways with your hood on your head. Those, I mean, just different things. Like, and I thought about it one day. I was like, man, we have rules and regulations because I'm so worried about my children being stereotyped or being picked on, being, not just so much so police brutality, but just, from other people, where they are. So, girl, it's one conversation that has been ongoing, for years and years and years. I mean, I'm just glad that it's getting recognized the way it is. I'm happy for the protests that are going on in over 150 cities in the U.S. and then other cities all
Girl,
over the world. It's needed. I mean, because there's also in Europe, there's police brutality. Now stories are coming out in Europe. I just heard about this young man he said he got raped by the police. Basically, his baton, the, they he one of the cops slapped someone and the guy approached him and he said, come over here, let me talk to you. Four police officers jumped on him, beat him, and then took their baton and shoved it up his rectum, and then had the nerve to say that, oh, the baton opened up automatically and it slipped in. Imagine that.
them mofos said that shit was an accident.
Imagine that.
Can you?
When I saw that thing, I was flabbergasted. I had no words. I just couldn't believe it. But
Yep.
again, now and then there were protests and there were fires over there, because of that happening.
Yep.
So I don't know what's happening in the world.
Uh,
I'm done with 2020.
no, we're gonna make sure it comes in, and we're gonna end it on a high note. And so Kirsten's on here, and she says, "Hi, Kirsten. First of all, it's a lot, and it's hard because I feel like I'm stripping away their childhood innocence in order to keep them safe and alive. Because you are having to have these really tough conversations, and these
Yeah,
conversations that make them feel like they're in a box in the way they have to operate in the spaces that should feel safe. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really is crazy. But I think what I know Shoana to do is always see these things as opportunity, which clearly you have. You have your show.
mm-hmm.
You have, the hard joke,
Mm-hmm.
the prank show, that you actually really use it as a platform. The way I see it also is provides this platform to really showcase and appreciate and laugh and love with, young
Yeah,
Liberian amazing talent and
yeah.
influencers doing awesome things. You you have a school. What's going to go on? What's going to happen with the school?
Right now, we're doing online preschool, the
Yeah,
Creative Arts Center.
yeah.
Unfortunately, every year for the last 10 years, we've had, an amazing creative and performing arts summer camp. And this year, for the first time, year 11, it's not happening. It's
Wow.
not happening this year. And
Wow.
so that's devastating. I mean, my staff was like, do you think it could possibly? I said, nobody will bring their kids.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
know, July is right around the corner. I said, even if they do, it wouldn't even be wise. I don't want that kind of liability. So we're going to see what happens. I've been thinking about school in September. See, most of my students are international students. So, and majority of them have left the country.
Right.
Uh, will they be back? I don't know.
Right.
So I was just talking to one of my parents yesterday about the option of making probably instead of, because I do 2, 3, and 4-year olds. And I said, maybe just the 4-year olds will do a actual preschool, online preschool, because they have to be prepped for kindergarten. So
Right.
possibly
Right.
that for the first semester, and we'll see how it goes. You know, starting in January, we might open up in January again. So
Oh
we'll
my
see.
gosh, girl, I could sit on here and talk to you for forever.
I
But
know.
before we have to let you go, please share with everybody what you would like them to know and how they can connect with you, Shoana.
Well, I'm always doing lots of things. My latest endeavor is the Live Your Brand method. So basically, you know, a lot of people connect with me via because of business, and you know, being an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, I really am a brand strategist, and I work on building businesses for people or helping them build their businesses. And so I have this course that's launching this month, the end of this month, and it's called Social Biz 101. And so if you go to my page, my Instagram page, I'm Shoana Cachelle on all my socials. So if you go to and hit my bio, you will get a link to the Live Your Brand method. And that's something that you know, people have been asking me about that for the longest time. So it's not only business, but it's, you know, your entire life. So I'm focusing on the first
Mhm.
part of it, business, and then fitness. So I've partnered with my husband,
Oh
who,
yeah.
um, you know, a CrossFit coach and Spartan athlete, and, you know, has been just doing the daggone thing. I was like, come on, come on, come on. I've been asking for years. And so he definitely decided to join me because, you know, health is important. When I started to take my health seriously, my business life started to grow. So the combination of those two things we're putting together and offering this option for people.
Can you
So
put
we
it in the comments, Shawana, so I can post, so I can pin it. Put it in the comments so I can pin it, and
okay.
because I think, you know, I'm sure there are people on here. Hi, Goretti, with your pretty self. Um, are people on here who I'm gonna recommend that they do take it. Shawana does these amazing classes and sessions. You know, really empowering, and she has so. I mean, one of the things that you're doing now that I want to appreciate you for is you're really taking the time, and it's so needed right now more than ever, is you're really appreciating our men.
Oh, girl, yes, yes, yes. That is a new endeavor as well. I've been focused on women for the last 5 years, and the men have been like, "What about us? What about?" I'm like, "Go to a man. I can't do anything for you, you know." And over this, I mean, this whole COVID-19 pandemic, I've been able to really pray on that and think about it. And I was like, what can I do for the brothers? And then the idea was like, hey, I have this sisterhood show. Why not have a brotherhood edition? And I don't have to do anything. The men will do it all, you know? And so I've been having some
Oh,
amazing men on the show, girl. I know you've been watching. I've seen you in there.
girl, listen. And some of them I know, but I didn't know them. I mean, I've got
Mhm.
to know them, you know, from your conversation.
Yeah.
It has been incredible, incredible. So please, everybody. So Shawana, I pinned it. Go follow her.
Yeah.
Learn
Follow
about
me to know about the show. Oh, guess who's coming on my show, girl? Let me
who,
tell you who's coming on my
who,
show in
who,
2 weeks.
who.
My sister friend Baku.
Ah!
Ooh, she coming on the Sisterhood
Oh,
series in
period.
2 weeks, the 21st. Put it in your schedules. It is, look, it's like a continuation of the show. So if you want more, the tables are going to be turned. I'm going to be happy,
Oh
but
God, what is Shawana like? Get the therapist, you know, really talk to too much. Um,
oh, I can't wait.
you want some good inspiration too? There's a virtuous palm. Follow them
Yes,
on social
Lucy.
media. They right now, if you need all that positivity and good God given direction that comes from a really great place, follow her too. I am
Virtual
focused on
Mom.
making sure that people really get to understand all of this Black woman greatness that we have going on here. So I'm just sharing all those stories. I'm just sending.
Yeah. You're doing a great job, girl. You're doing a great
That is
job.
that is
I
my
love you. This is so, I mean, this has been so great.
yes. We're
So
gonna get
great. I've
caught up.
had so much fun.
We're gonna
Like
get
you
caught up.
said, it's not an interview, it's a conversation.
Yeah,
And yes,
it's
it
a
was a
conversation.
conversation.
Yes, it's a to allow you to share your greatness, for us to continue to support you, and to let you know I see you. I see you.
Yeah, thank you. I see you. I'm
And
inspired by you.
I'm
You were
inspired
doing the
by you.
daggone
Thank you.
thing.
Thank
I'm
you.
like, eh.
Thank you, Tata. Thank you. Luana, I thank you so much. Say hi to Devon. Congratulations to the girls.
Thank
Tell my
you.
little Peace Cafe bunny that we miss her. She's such a big girl now. And
She's
please
a
follow
big
Shoana. Please connect with her, and we'll see you on Thursday. We have a really good guest coming on Thursday, and you guys know
Who's coming up on Thursday on your show?
on
Because you know I've been trying to run over to your show.
We show that on a Monday. It's gonna be deep. It's gonna be fun. We get
Okay. I will be there. I'll be there like I always
you.
am.
When is your next show? Quickly, when is your next show? Your
Sunday, V. Bozeman. V. Bozeman is coming on the show.
Grammy
This,
Award. She's
yes,
won a Grammy.
she's a Grammy nominated artist. She's
Okay.
like, I mean, she's doing her thing. She was, I don't know if you remember the Timothy Bloom song, Till the End of Time. She's the sister in that song.
Like
It's
it.
the one they're both naked and like they were, but the song, it was so sensual, so sexy. When I saw, I was like, and I've been following her since. I was like,
Oh
this
yes.
is going
I'm sorry, Shoana. And tomorrow we got next. This is a platform on Boss Lady Effect where we're focusing on the next generation.
Tyler, yeah.
Got next. We're coming from Munadi because we know she's got some amazing things. Yes, Tyler,
We
make
love
sure
that.
next and Shoana, and we get it. I love you, Show.
I love
Thank you
you
so
too.
much.
Mwah, mwah. Kiss the
Awesome.
kids for me. Please tell Katan I said hi as well.
I
I miss
will.
fresh fruits.
I know, girl. I had on a t-shirt. I took it off. So don't forget, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, we got next. Follow Boss Lady Effect. Bye,
Tyler,
everybody.
send it to me so I can post it too.
Yes. Okay. Thank you once again. Stay positive. We got to fight this fight. Our children have
Thank you all.
got to live in a great place. Love you, Show.
All
Bye.
right, love you, Access. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, I'm about to sign off. Please come back on Thursday. Join. We got next tomorrow, and let's all stay positive. Let's keep sharing our stories because we got